What's going on, YouTube family? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you. I'm sitting in the office tonight. I was actually going to go fishing, and then I had to work on my trolling motor. I actually replaced my Minn Kota Ultrex. I finally kind of bit the dust on me, just I guess a little bit too much use, broke the shaft and everything. So I decided to switch over. I'm actually using the Garmin Force now, so I'm getting that thing set up. So hopefully be on the water here pretty soon. Plan on fishing tomorrow evening, so hopefully I'll be able to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on with Hubbard. Then we have a fishing tournament this weekend out on Hubbard on Sunday. I'm doing that with my son, a little winter series. I think it's three or four different lakes. Should be lots of fun, and we're going to have video for you guys on that. So in the meantime, I'm sitting here in the office. You guys know what happens when I'm in the office. It's time to get back to lake breakdowns. Here we go. Tonight, it's Possum Kingdom. You guys saw where we stopped at. I think we stopped at that marina. So we'll start there on our breakdown. Let's go ahead and see what we found. Here we go. Well, welcome back. If you haven't seen the lake breakdowns yet with us, what I basically do is I'll go down, I take Google Earth, I draw the lake down, see what we can find from a fishing standpoint as far as hot spots, things that maybe fish would be attracted to. And then I also go back and actually mark the offshore spots for you guys now as well. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your support. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing. This is Possum Kingdom Lake. This is actually episode 2. So if you missed the first episode, I actually started way up here on the north side. And what we did is we worked our way down, all the way down here to this marina that's down here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This marina right here, I believe it's Barefoot something. I'm looking, remember what it is. The Breakers, not Barefoot. I don't know where I got that from. The Breakers on Possum Kingdom Lake. So we finished right there where that rock is last time. Over here on the left-hand side, just real quick before we start breaking this down some more, this is all going to be organized for you in the KML file. You've got the offshore hotspots, you've got rock, you've got cover, you've got ramps. You can just basically select all this stuff that you want, select what you don't want, and then you'll be able to see all those different marks that are on there. So some really good stuff. Go out and check out my site, simplisticfishing.com, and you can get these points put on the SD card for your graphs. You can also get the digital files as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to select everything here, and then I'm going to take off the offshore stuff. And then as far as the dates go, let's get us a good date where we can see when the water's drawn down. Now, you know, if you have watched a lot of my videos, 2012 and 2014 in our area, kind of DFW area, that seems to kind of be the best time to try to find when the lake is down. Now, this is drawn down pretty good right here, so we're probably going to go with that image. It says 12 of 2013, so if you're following along with me, I think that's the date I'm going to go with for this video. Pretty sure that's what I use for making my marks. So first spot you want to look at, obviously, is you've got a rocky main lake point. You can't pass that up, so definitely take a look at that. You've also got a ramp back in here that you could look at. This looks kind of interesting. Doesn't look like it gets used very much. Could be a pretty good area to go kind of springtime. There's also, if you zoom in here, you're going to see this little pipe here that goes all the way across. Now, I don't know if you can get back in here or not, but if you can, fish that pipe. I've caught some huge fish off those submerged pipes, gas pipes and stuff like that. They're just really, when there won't be anything else around, but there's that pipe, they'll just relate right to it, and you'll be surprised at what you can catch off of those pipes that are back there. So you've also, just coming up here now, there's a lot of rock on this lake, right? So again, if I say rock, you're going to be like, duh, there's tons of rock on here. No, I'm picking out areas of that rocky spot or that area that I think are going to be high percentage spots. So kind of same thing here. There is a lot of timber on this lake, but it's all scattered. So you're really looking for areas where it's very unique. Well, this area right here is very unique. One, it's not too far from a main lake point that has some rock on it. Obviously, there's rock all over this bank line. Also, my guess is that the creek channel more than likely swings up this way. Just by looking at this, you can tell this is the shallower area. So your swing's probably going to be coming up this way. So you're on a creek channel swing. So that's another plus, right? And then the next thing would be the fact that you have some standing timber. So you've got timber, rocks, creek channel swing, and a point. So it all looks good. I would definitely fish this timber that's right in here. Now, if we look at it and we pull up the water to 2016, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Maybe it's still out of the water. I'm not sure, but you'll definitely see it on your graph. So pull up there and just find that timber that's in there. and flip all around that timber. I think you guys could definitely have some luck there. It's positioned very well. Now you've got some of that other stuff going down here. Obviously, this whole bank line is going to be good if it is the creek channel swing, which I believe it is, if I remember right from Navionics. So you could just come down here and fish crankbaits around the rocks, and then when you get to these areas, sorry, this thing's messing up on me. When you get to these areas, you can actually go in here and just fish the timber in those different areas. So right in there, some timber. There's some more timber right in here. So you can just fish kind of that scattered timber as well. So you kind of have two different patterns you can run there. One, you could just stick with the timber and the laydowns. The other thing, you could just fish the rock. But you're on a creek channel swing, so you know that's going to be just a juicy little area to be fishing. All right, so as I move back in here, I'm going to change my view here so we can get a little bit more kind of on top of things here. And I'm going to show you where I'm at. So we just came out of that marina, right? So we're going to keep going down this side all the way down, and then we'll circle back and we'll go out back to the east side. So I'm going to come down here, then we'll make our way back this way. So here we are. We're kind of coming into this back pocket. We've got the timber that we talked about up there. Got some laydowns here that you could check out as well. This was a pretty big laydown. So I mean, you've got lots of different rock and debris, but this is a pretty good laydown. So I definitely check that one out. And then I really like this rock pile. Notice how it's unique. It's kind of the last of the big chunk rock before it changes to this smaller kind of rock that you see in here. So anytime you have those kind of transitions going on, one, those transition areas are nice to fish, but this one's not really that defined. But this is kind of the first big rock you come to before you really start seeing it down this bank line. So I would fish around here, and that's also going to be pretty submerged. You know, if we look at 2016, that thing is completely under the water, and it's going to be a pretty good depth too, probably 5-10 feet, something like that. So check that out. You've also got some timber around there that you could fish as well. As we go down this bank line, it's kind of all the same stuff. If you wanted to fish that, obviously just hit the big stuff. The stuff that can make shadows, the stuff that they can hide behind, that's the stuff that they're going to get behind for the most part. But as you're coming down here and the lake is down, you can kind of see where the brush piles are. So right here, we've got some good brush right along this dock. You've also got some brush piles right over here as well. So you could check that out. You got a little bit right here, but that doesn't really look like a brush pile. It looks more like kind of like a stump or stick up. But these look like brush piles for sure. So I would go check those out. You crappie fishermen, those could be good spots for you as well. Sure, the guy that owns the dock loves me. As we move further down here, notice again, I didn't mark just rock on that bank, but this right here I did, because see how this rock comes further out into the water? The rest of it just kind of, you have the big rock on the bank line, then it kind of turns to this sandy stuff. But this area right here basically comes out, makes a little point. So this could be a great area when the fish are really pushing back into these coves and in these pockets. This could be a great area to try to locate them. So check out that spot right there. As we move further up here, just a pretty good little pile of brush, stick-ups, things like that to fish around. Looks like they would be totally submerged too when the water's up, so that could be a good spot for you. And then back over here, we just got a ramp. And as we move further up here, a couple different spots. So obviously, love to fish around the rock, but when it's all the consistent same rock, then that's not as much fun. I like to find the spots that are, again, unique to that area. So right in here, you're going to see that this is kind of unique to the area. It's sandy on this side. It's sandy on this side. You've got a rock pile here that's coming down from this little boat ramp that they have from their boat shed. But then you've also got a really well-defined rock pile right here that has a pretty good ledge on it, or an edge on it. So definitely look at this. If you're there, maybe switch over to the other side of the dock and take a look at that too. That looks pretty good. And then as we move further up, we've got a couple more ramps you could check a look at, see if anything's collecting around there. And then right here, I really like this because it's basically a man-made seawall that you have here, but you can tell there's got to be some depth back behind there because that's a pretty significant shadow. Those fish love to set up on the corners of these seawalls. You guys heard me talk about seawalls before, flipping them, all that stuff. Well, kind of the same thing here. I mean, this one just comes out into the water a little bit, but you want to get parallel to it if you can and flip all around the edge right there around that seawall. This is also probably going to be a pretty decent area to fish too. But then come out into the backside and do the same thing because, like I said, it looks like you got some pretty decent depth back there. If you look at it when it's at full pool, it looks totally different. So right in here is some pretty good deep water that they could actually set up on. So It's going to give them some good shade, all that good stuff. You can see the shade that it provides. All right, so quit talking about that spot. Keep moving on. Again, just some little areas with some brush and stuff you could check out, but I didn't see anything too major that I could go and mark for you. This lake looks cool. Definitely lots of rock. Got another ramp right in here that you could fish. This point comes out, and usually when you find these points, you find brush piles off these points, but I didn't see anything on this one. It was kind of just all just dried up, just junky land. Now you could maybe come up in here and fish right here, but I don't know. Doesn't really look like a spot I'd focus on too much. You got some rock right in here with some ramp, or a ramp there with rock. That really should probably say ramp. Or maybe that's not a ramp. I can't tell. But anyways, it's a rocky area. It's got a little bit of rock around it. So there's not a lot of rock in this area. So that would be your higher percentage spot if you were fishing this area. Now, as you come down here, just a bunch of docks. Didn't see too much there. They also have pretty good depth because they're all out in the water in this major drought. You've got a pretty good looking little ditch back here, though. So, the creek channels, when we're talking about the East Texas lakes, those things are pretty significant, right? We can see them really easily. But on this lake and some of these lakes up here more towards the west side, the creek channels, they're either completely washed out or they're just not as noticeable. So they're harder to pick up on Google Earth. But this right here, whether it's a creek channel or just a ditch, whatever it is, there's definitely some contours here, and there's definitely some changes in depth and places for them to hide and ambush bait. So this ditch right here could be a really good spot for you to fish. And people are probably going to think you're crazy because you're going to be out there, fishing out here in the middle of the lake, kind of fishing towards this. It looks totally different when the water is up, but you've got a really good ditch that's coming right through here. So definitely go check that one out. I love fishing ditches and creek channels. You guys know that. That's why I mark them all, but those are always real good areas to find fish. You got ramps pretty much everywhere back here, so lots of ramps. I did like how this rock comes out here. So you've got a little rocky point that kind of sticks out on its own, and those are always good areas to find fish as well. If we look at it when it's up, that rock's submerged, so you got to be really careful you don't hit your prop back here, but you got a pretty good underwater rock island that's coming out right here. And these ramps, you look at the ramps, they're way submerged. So some pretty good stuff back in here to check out for sure. That's Fox Hollow Creek is where I was. All right, so I'm going to go back down to 2013. We're going to come on out of this cove. We got another ramp there, a couple more ramps in here, more ramps. And then as we get back in here, there's a little brush pile back here. Now you got brush out here, so you could flip all this stuff. Now, if it's around a creek channel, that's money. You definitely want to fish it, but I don't really see much of a creek down here. That just looks kind of like just standing timber. But if we come over here off of this point, that looks pretty good. That looks like it may be possibly man-made. Someone maybe added a little bit more brush down there to make it a little more interesting. I'm not sure, but that looks pretty good. And then right across from it, you got a little rocky point that comes out. So all that looks good right in there. And if you look at it in 2016, that brush, you may be able to see one top of the limb of it, and that's going to be about it. But it's positioned well with those docks, so it makes me think that that's probably going to be man-made. And that little point that we saw, remember that was way out here? You look at it at full pull, and you don't see that at all. So that could be pretty good as well. Really like that. Man, those things look totally different when that water's down. I wonder how far down the water was on this date, because it had to be pretty good. The other thing, I didn't even notice when I marked that rock is you've got some pretty good depth change here. So as it comes up, you've got a pretty good ledge over here. So where they've dug this out, really like this spot. Really like it a lot. All right. So as we move a little bit further up, just got some more rock in here. So we got, obviously got rock along the bank line, but this rock was unique because it was huge. It's a really big boulder, something they could definitely hide around. You got kind of the same thing going on over here too. So check that out. Again, you got more ramps up here. You got another ramp that's way down here. I should have probably just moved that thing down there because that's going to be the better ramp to fish, because that one's going to be totally submerged. So we'll mark that one. And then as we move further out here, got a little bit of brush out here, but I marked this creek channel for you. Again, these creek channels aren't maybe as defined or going to be as good as some of those East Texas lakes, but still, fish relate to creek channels. It doesn't matter where you're at. They're always going to relate to them. So come up here and just scan around the creek channel, see if you can find anything that's unique around the creek channel. Maybe you find, a unique laydown, or someone put something out in the channel. Just kind of check them out. Maybe come over here, check out this little brush that's right in here that's really close to the creek channel. And you'll be surprised at how many more fish you're going to start catching when you start really paying attention to the creek channels. The creek channels are key to fishing. All right, so we got some more ramps in here. Again, just a lot more ramps coming down through this side as well. And then as we get out here off this point, I put a little spot out here, and I wanted you to check it because there's something going on out here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's debris. Maybe it's nothing, but something looks like it's right there. Plus, if you look right here, it's sandy, and then it starts getting a little bit more rocky right in this area. So this could be some pretty good rock too, and then maybe a good drop. I'm not sure, but check out that spot where I put check out. I think there's something there. All right, so moving up here, we've got a ton of ramps, right? Ramp. And then finally, as we get a little bit further down here, there's not a lot going on these bank lines, but we do have a pretty good little laydown right here that I marked for you. Looks pretty significant. So you'll see that one out there. Again, be careful. It looks like you got some stick ups. You may even have a laydown right there too. I didn't see that one last time. I like these too. These are like little points that come out, just little secondary points that have rock on the edges of them. So you got one there and one here. Again, looking at that when the water's up, you're going to have no idea that stuff is out there at all. And that's probably where you're going to need to be fishing because this looks fairly shallow. All right, so then moving back up here, lots of ramps, some more of those rock little points that come out, those little secondary points. This one looks really juicy. Got brush on it as well. This one looks pretty good as well. And again, let's look at it when we pull it up. Just so much different. It's just significant. These could be just great spots to find. This has been one of the better lakes as far as, unfortunately, they must have had a really significant drought because it's been one of the best ones for being able to find stuff. And some of the stuff is pretty far offshore. It's not like it's just right on the bank. So pretty good stuff on this lake. All right, then moving down here, we've got some more laydowns I marked for you. You can see them sticking out there. If I move this up, it's not cooperating with me again, but let's move this up right in here. And you can kind of see the laydowns there. So showing you that as we move further up here, we got some more rock that's out here. So if we zoom in, you're going to notice that there's definitely like a little saddle area right in here. This is some kind of a hump with some debris on it as well. And if you look really closely, you can tell that it looks like there's some rock on the top of this thing. So this area right in here, don't know what it is, but check it out. And then right here, this looks really good. It's like its own little rock point that's right here. As it just comes right across that kind of that saddle where that hump is. So right in there. So look at that. Again, if we pull that up, 2016, that thing's pretty far out there, right? You're pretty far offshore, but you're not in very deep water at all. But definitely look at that. It looks good. Got some debris over here as well. So again, if we pull it back, you'll notice here, these look like tires or something that people would put here. Maybe they're not tires. Maybe they just look funky on Google Earth. But to me, those look very similar to tires. Not sure what it is. Also got, I don't know what that is. It looks like a little rocket. And then as we move further up, we got some ramps. We got some more rocks that are right in here. I really like this one because if you look at it, the rocks make a really good formation, right? I'm always talking about any areas that make a really defined line. Those are going to be areas that you probably want to go look at. Also, if it's different than everything around it, which it is, it's sandy there. It's kind of sandy and not a lot of rock here, but lots of rock right in this area. This could be a good area for you to check and look at. Also right over here, got the rocks here, but let's look at that. Let's go ahead and change this view for you guys. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with my views today, but it is jacking me up. All right, so put that right there. You can see the little thing. Now let's zoom it in or move it up to 2016. And now you got a totally different view of where those rocks are. They're pretty far off. So again, as we're looking at this, I know I keep showing you guys that, but I just want you to understand it because when you get out there in the lake, and if you're just watching this video and you didn't get the points, but you're just out there searching for these things, you got to remember that it looks a lot different when the water is up for sure. So you've got some ramps here. Got some more rocks over in this area that I marked for you guys, kind of unique because they come out a little bit and get really dense right in that area. You've also got another ramp that's over here. This one looks like it probably never gets used, so definitely look at that one. Also over here is a real unique little spot. So again, we got all this sand everywhere, and for whatever reason, just right here, just in this little spot, you got some kind of debris. It looks like rock that's in there. So we marked that as rock. Moving up here, got some more ramps as well. Over here, we got some more rock that's down in this area. And this one, again, is unique, right? Because it's so far off. You got a pretty good rock pile right there that's offshore. So really like that. So 2016, you don't know it's there. Again, maybe the dock owner put it there. Don't know, but it's definitely in a good distance away from that dock. And you got some standing timber over there too. That looks cool. You got some rock here as well. You got some more debris. Somebody put a bunch of junk in here. You crappie fishermen and bass fishermen, hope you're paying attention. That looks like a good spot. As we move further down, we got some more rock in this area. So you'll see it here kind of coming off, making a little point, almost like a homemade ramp or something like that. Got another ramp here, another ramp, some more rock coming off these points. And again, you know, these points look good because I think most of them are going to be pretty well submerged. So it's really going to give you a good area to run run crankbaits and things like that. You got some more ramps over here, some more rocks right there off the edge. Let's see if we find anything else back in here. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back here. We're going to hit these creek channels. We get back out to this main spot. We're going to stop right there. So let's go ahead and talk about what we found right here. So as we get out here off this point comes out pretty good. Obviously, you know, I like points like this, especially when they come out and they're really flat on the top, especially in the fall. Those are good areas to find. And if we zoom in here, I don't know if those are tires. Maybe they're just bushes or something. They don't really look like tires. They kind of do. Anyways, you got some kind of debris going on the top up there. And if you move further out here, you got a really big laydown on this side. You've got some kind of laydown or something. I have no idea what it is. I think it's a big laydown right here, right off the edge of that point. So that's good. And then right here, it looks like a shell bed. I can't tell if it's a shell bed or if it's just rock, but definitely something that's unique. Comes out, makes a little bitty hump right there, and that's a really good place for them to collect. So I could definitely see that being a good area. Also, these spots where you see these wide areas, check those out when you're there. Those are harder spots, and they could even be potentially shells in those areas. So take a look at those when you're out there. All right, so as I move further down, some more ramps. Again, we got some pretty decent rock over here, but on these, I just marked the big chunk rock. So this is a big chunk rock area. Another big old chunky rock right there. Got some ramps back here as well. And then as we move further up here, again, just some of those more of those rock formations where I'm looking for the big stuff. But if you look right here beside this dock, they got a pretty decent little brush pile going on here. So that could be, you know, your little secret hole that you don't tell anybody about right there by that dock. I don't think that's the dock. I'm not sure. It looks kind of old, but looks like it definitely worth fishing. And you got this giant boulder right beside it as well. You got one there, one up here, and you got one a little bit further up as well. So go check those out if you're fishing in that part of the lake for sure. As we move further up here, we've got a lot of ramps, so I won't point all those out. And then we finally get into some creek channels. Now, again, these creek channels may not be as defined, but if you're focused on them, you can find the fish. This is going to be a good area, right? Because it kind of swings up against here. So from this dock to about that corner is going to be a pretty good spot to look at. And then as you move further up, you can kind of just follow that creek channel up. Wasn't too much really going on with that creek channel. This one goes pretty far back. You got two of them back here. I'll zoom back a little bit and show it to you guys. They go way back in there. So you could potentially go back in there and find them and just focus on the bends and the turns. You've also got another one that comes up from here as well. Kind of got that mark for you too. This one makes a pretty good swing right there against the side. And then of course, you know, when they meet, those are always good areas to look at too, but this one kind of looks like it's almost washed out there. All right, so we're going to keep pulling out of there until we get back out to the main lake. We got some more rock right here off the edge of this point. So you'll notice it right here. And I think what's happened is there must be a creek channel close to this because you can see it's got some pretty good drop to it, but you got some real good rock right here, real good transition area going on right in that area. We've also got some more rock here off this little point that comes out. Again, a lot of this stuff's going to be underwater, guys. So it's going to look a lot different. That one's totally underwater. You can't even see it. But if we move it back, we'll be able to see that there's some rock right off the edge of this. Now I'm going to zoom in because this one was more unique. See how big those rocks are? It's like just a little pile just right there off the edge of that point. That looks really good. All right, so then moving back out, We're going to keep coming down here. We had some more rock going on along this bank line. So you got that sandy area. Again, check out those transition areas if you're just fishing this area. And then you got to kind of have these little unique little rock piles. Well, these were unique, but this one was even more unique because it's giant. So you got the big giant boulder there as well, creating that shade. So you know it's a pretty good spot. So take a look at that. And then when you're there, maybe just move over here just a little bit. Again, you're going to stay off the shore. Don't be up on the shore trying to find this thing. Back off a little bit, and that's where your pile is going to be. All right, moving down here, almost out to the main lake, guys, but moving down here, another little creek channel that we marked for you guys. I don't see too much going on in this one, but it's a creek channel, so maybe you get lucky and find some stuff in there. You may be able to find some stuff right here at the opening. It seems to be a lot of debris and stuff that's collected back up here in this pocket. So maybe go check it out, especially if you're just stuck in that area or you're hiding from the wind or something. Maybe worth going down there and looking at. All right, then as we move down here, down this little, just basically down the bank line, kind of, we know there's a creek channel out there somewhere. As we get up here, it starts hitting the bank line, and you'll notice that we have a pretty good little underwater point here with some pretty decent rock, got some timber around it. So check out that. That looks like a really interesting little pocket. I'm not sure if it's going to be really that obvious from the bank line. Yeah, when the water's up, you're not going to notice it as much. But definitely when the water's down, you can tell that something's going on there with some pretty good depth as well. And then moving back here, again, you've got another good little creek channel. This one has a little bit of definition to it. It's some pretty good turns too. So it comes out of here, and then once it dumps out, it makes a real hard turn right here. So this area right here would be good. And then maybe even looking up in here as well. I could kind of just basically say, look, if you come back in here and just fish this whole thing, because it's got a real nice creek channel all the way around it. All right, so then we're going to keep moving out here. We've got a couple more creek, I guess one more creek channel to show you. So this one is back in here. Now this one's not as good, probably more like a ditch than a creek channel, but something's going on here. But if you look back in here, again, making a pretty good little turn there, right? So look at the turns, look right here, maybe look right in here as well, right here off this point, could be pretty decent. You got a little ramp that's going to be totally submerged out there. Pretty good, decent little ledge that's out here as well. So you could check that out too. And then as we move further up here, just another ramp. It looks like a main one. That's your state park for Possum Kingdom. Really big ramp, really big ramp for sure. Looks like a cool park. Definitely need to go here and check this place out. We've also got some laydowns back here. So yeah, we got a lot of standing timber. But inside that standing timber, you've actually got a really big laydown that's right here. So check that out. There's also another one just a little bit down from that you could look at too. And then as we move further out, we got a couple different spots where we've got that rock. So we've got a little bit of rock here that was unique. I like how you have all the standing timber you can fish around, but look at this pile, how different it is than everything else around it. So that's why we marked it. Those spots can definitely pay off. Now, as you move over here and you get to this little point, again, secondary point, right? Coming off, it looks really good. Got a pretty good point there as well. You could fish. And then as we move further up here, just marked a couple different rock spots. Obviously, all of this is rock, but again, these are unique spots, right? So this is your unique spot here. You didn't even see that one. I should have hit that one. That's a big old boulder there. Got another big boulder here and some really big boulders right in this area too. And then after that, it kind of all just looks the same until you get out to the main lake. You got two more spots I'll show you real quick. Got a little bit of rock here. I'm not sure on that one, guys. Probably wouldn't waste too much time there, but it is closer to the main lake. So depending on the time of year, that might be worth looking at. And then let's finish right here, right on the edge where it says brush here. We're going to finish there. And then on our next video, we will go down and work our way down. So I just want to show you right here, there's some brush right off of this point. I know it's kind of a rounded point, so it's not that unique, but you can see right here some pretty good brush right here. And there's some pretty good brush right beside it too. So if you do get here, just pull back and see if you can find some stuff in that area as well. So guys, that wraps us up for Possum Kingdom for episode 2. We're making our way. This thing's huge, 17,000 acres. So it's not going to go by too fast, but looks like we may be able to, at least get this side of the lake done in one more video, and then probably 2 or 3 more videos to finish it up. So hope you guys are enjoying this. Go out to simplisticfishing.com, buy you an SD card, get you the digital file. It will definitely help you guys out. It has changed the way we fish. I guarantee you that. It will change the way you fish as well. Until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.